she's cute, like 1 year big chop. Today's video, I'm gonna be talking about my experience with having braces for 5 years. This has been one of the most frustrating experiences of my life. And I feel that I'm a very patient person. But what does test my patience is when you tell me that something's going to take 2.5 years and then it takes you 5 years. So I really don't even want to deep condition. Like, my hair this is no product, by the way. I don't even want to deep condition. Like, it looks so cute. Okay, so extractions. Let's talk about extractions. So basically, something that I did not know is that you can have teeth that are overcrowding your mouth. And in order for the orthodontists to have space to move your teeth around, they are going to, in some cases, have to pull your teeth out. Okay, right. So what happened to me was that, first of all, my overall experience of getting braces has been very frustrating. If you watch, I'm not gonna like link the videos in the description box or anything, but I've like posted a couple of like little braces vlogs on my channel, and first of all, they did not explain the process. I have all these fuzzies around me. They did not explain the process of how you get braces like in depth enough for me, because I thought that my first appointment that they were gonna give me braces, and this is not what happened. Literally went to my first appointment, all they did was look at my teeth. And where I go for my treatment, I go to a college. So my first appointment, all they did was the main doctor looked at my teeth, and then they called all of their other classmates to look at my teeth. And I felt like a giraffe. That's not even like an exotic animal. I felt like a toucan at the zoo. Like, I felt like everybody was looking at my teeth. Everybody was making comments about how my teeth were throwing up gang signs and just crooked, just everywhere. And I was just like, very awkward. So if you plan on going to a college to get your treatment, just keep it in mind that keep in mind that people are like looking at your teeth to get like degrees and stuff. So I mean, I don't know, they didn't really explain that like other people are gonna be like all up in my mouth, and that wasn't really explained to me, if that makes sense. So anyways, my first appointment, all they did was look at my teeth and then just talk about what they were gonna do. Like, I don't really like talking, I like action. So they were doing a whole bunch of talking. I'm just like, can we get to the braces part? Can we get to the braces part? Can we get to the braces part? So like maybe like the third or fourth appointment, like they were just terrible at communicating. But the third or fourth appointment, finally they're like, okay, you're gonna get your braces today. Tell me why. Tell me why when I get my braces, I get only the bottom row. I was like, I didn't know like what was going on. I'm like, what do you mean I'm only getting the bottom? First of all, my bottom row was so straight that they asked me if I had had braces before. So I'm not an orthodontist, but it didn't make sense to me that they started with what was already okay. My top row is what needed help. So I'm like, why did you guys start with the bottom that was perfectly fine? You should have really started with the top. But anyways, so in preparation for me getting the bottom row of braces, they told me that I needed to get 2 extractions. So I went over to the dentistry side of the college and I got 2 teeth. I think they were my premolars. I got 2 teeth extracted from the bottom row. And then I think they had me wear these little blue rubber bands in between my spacers. They're called spacers. So then they had me wear spacers in between some of my teeth to, you know, create some more space, right? So anyways, I get to my first appointment and basically they put the braces on the bottom row only though. So for 2 years, literally for 2 years, I was going in on a monthly basis. So you go in every 4 weeks and they would do all of these things to my bottom row to make it straighter, I guess. So they're like, okay, we're moving towards the time where we think you're ready to get your top braces. I'm hype because when I got my braces on, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna have them on for 2.5 years. My teeth are gonna be straight and then we're going to take them off, because honestly, my insecurity was the top row. And my insecurity was not about having a gap. My canines were floating. My canines were literally floating in heaven. So that was my issue. I'm like, y'all doing all of this to the bottom that's already perfectly fine, and I'm having to walk around. I have braces, but the issue that I came to you for is not getting resolved. So 2 years of having just the bottom row. They're like, okay, we think that the bottom is good. Don't know why it took 2 years. We think the bottom is good, so we're gonna start making our way to putting your braces on the top. And I'm like, cool. So the day of the appointment comes when I'm supposed to be getting my top braces. And I was 17, so this was senior year. So I most likely took off of dance or something, because I remember my appointment was not in the afternoon. Like, it was in the morning, kind of like 11ish. So I get to the office and I'm waiting for my appointment, and they come out talking about your doctor's not here today. What do you mean? What do you mean my doctor's not here today? So I'm like, let me speak to it's not called the manager. I'm like, let me speak to whoever's in charge. I've waited 2 years for this day, and you're telling me my doctor isn't here? You're ridiculous. So I'm like, listen, I came all the way over here. You guys did not communicate with me to tell me that my doctor was not going to be here. Very much an inconvenience. How are we going to fix this? But I said it nicely. So basically, this is where that relationship building comes into play. So one of the doctors that had like her office where she would like take her patients next to my doctor, she was like, oh, I know this little girl, I can do it for her. And she just volunteered. I was like, thank you. Like, she would talk to me sometimes when I was in, you know, my person's chair, just small talk and stuff like that. She recognized my face and was like, you know what, I can do it for you. And I'm like, thank you, because I just think it was just so inconsiderate and rude of my time to do that. So finally, I'm not even going on my list. We'll get to that at the end. We'll get to that at the end. This is just my braces journey at this point. So she puts the top braces on, and I'm just so hyped because I'm like, okay, this is where the real progress starts. So now I have my top and my bottom, and we informed my orthodontist office that I was going to be going to college, like right around when I was like 16 or maybe the start of senior year. We kept saying, I'm going to school, I'm going to school, I'm going to school. And so basically my last appointment before I was supposed to go to school, they tried to act like they were surprised that I was going to college. And at this point, I'm like, we've been saying this. Like, I felt like they had been taking their sweet time with my teeth, and every time I had mentioned something about time, they'd be like, oh, you got this many months left. But I'm like, okay, but y'all go on break every 3 months. So when you're giving your patients this timeline, you need to take into consideration that you are a college and you take breaks frequently, because if I'm supposed to have my braces off in 2.5 years, why am I just now getting the top row? So anyways, they try to act like they were all surprised and like, oh my God, you're going to school, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, you shouldn't have been taking your sweet time, because if anything, I feel like my teeth shift so quickly. Like, at a certain point, you could have said like, okay, maybe you can start coming in every 3 weeks to try to speed up the process. But once again, they were just taking their sweet time. So anyway, basically I just went back to college, and I was just not having an appointment for 3 or 4 months, and that really delayed my treatment. And when I finally got back, my last appointment was March of 2020. Like, I went to college, came back, they were like, okay, we want to speed the process up, can you come back in April? And I'm like, no, this is spring break. Like, I most likely cannot come back just for 1 day in April. Like, and I'm like, I was just disappointed that they didn't like offer me to like, because the issue is, I would love to have gone somewhere else, but my parents already paid along with insurance. My teeth are paid off, basically. So unless this college plans on financing me to transfer to somewhere else, we're gonna get what we paid for. So then they recommend that I inquire at the college that I go to about their treatment. So I call the college that I go to, and the college I go to is like, okay, but if you want treatment from us, you're gonna have to get your braces taken off. See, what I'm not gonna do is take my braces off just to get them see, what would have happened if I took my braces off to get a consultation and then you didn't want to help me? Then I would have been in a pickle, for lack of a better term. So in March of 2020, I came back and they were like, okay, let's try to speed up the treatment. And that's when the situation that the world is in started. So at this point, I've just, been in the house for a couple of months. They didn't open back up until August of 20. No, they didn't. They weren't even open when I went back to school, I don't think. They were still closed. So anyways, I don't remember what month they opened back up, but I kept calling them like, let me know when y'all are open. Let me know when y'all are open. And then I text my doctor, the doctor that I had, and I'm like, hey, do you know the availability and when will you be like taking patients again? He's like, oh, I graduated. You have a new person. This is her contacts. So I have been at this facility for 5 years and I have had 5 different doctors. I went to my latest appointment in June and I had a new person. Yes. 5 years. So it looks like maybe they keep giving me seniors. I feel like that's what it is. They keep giving me seniors. So I've literally had 5 people at this point. And what was so shocking was that I didn't expect to have a new person at my latest appointment, because at my appointment in May, I was like, oh, she was like, oh, let's schedule one more appointment before we close. And I was like, okay, great. Like, I'll see you next month. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is my doctor. And they're like, oh, you don't have her anymore. You have such and such. So this is my 5th. Is this even my 5th or my 6th? I think it's my 5th person. I had the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's my 5th person. It's my 5th person. So one of the annoying things that they tried to do was tell me that I need to get this gum surgery so that my gap doesn't come back. And basically, I think it's a surgery where they take some fire and they like burn your gums down. And I'm not that pressed. Like, the whole reason I came to get braces was, first of all, braces really changes your face, because my face used to be crooked and it's straightening out. It's like not all the way even, but my face used to be crooked. Like, I'm not even like, why would I cap? But my face used to be crooked, and braces really helps like centralize everything. So I went to my latest appointment and I had a new person, and oh yeah, they wanted me to get this gum surgery to basically burn off some of my gum so my gap doesn't come back. In addition to that, I just went to an appointment recently and they told me that I should get more teeth extracted, and they recommended 4 more teeth get extracted. And at this point, I'm just like, what in the world? Like, do I even have 8 teeth to be extracted from my mouth? Like, will my mouth still be okay? Because at this point, I've already had 4 teeth extracted. They're recommending to me that I get 4 more teeth extracted, and I'm just like, this sounds like aesthetics to me, because they're like, oh, you should get this and that extracted before before you get your braces on. I'm just like, if it's not affecting my health, I really don't care to get 4 more teeth extracted. Like, I get it, it's all cute, y'all are perfectionists with like how perfect teeth need to look, but I'm not gonna keep pulling teeth out my mouth for no reason, especially when y'all are taking y'all sweet time with my mouth. So as you can tell, this has been a very stressful situation, but let's just get to the end. So yeah, they kept pressing me out at every appointment saying like, okay, did you schedule that appointment to get your teeth pulled yet? Did you schedule it? And I'm like, no, I have not. Like, I'm not rushing to do anything, because y'all have been going at the pace of a tortoise. So I went to my last appointment with my new person, and he was really rough. Like, I'm gonna be honest, my pain tolerance is not high, but like, he was being rough. Like, if any of you guys have braces, you know about bonding. Bonding is when they take the bracket, they take this disgusting glue and they put it on your teeth. So his supervisor basically told him to take the bracket off of one of my teeth and put it back on in a different position. So when you're taking a bracket off of a person's teeth, it's basically cemented to their teeth. So you have to use this tool to basically yank it off. And it feels like the person is going to break your teeth when they do this. So, of course, I'm making faces in the chair. Of course, I'm flinching because you're literally yanking glue and an object that has basically been cemented onto my teeth. And he kept stopping. Like, the energy that he was giving me was like, you're doing too much. Are you okay? And I'm just like, I will be. That's really what I said. He was like, are you okay? I was like, I will be when this is over. So, yeah. That's what happened at my last appointment. They gave me a heavier wire, and they proceeded to tell me that I only have 1 or 2 appointments left before I get my braces taken off. And when I heard that, I was like, I don't know about that, because at this point I'm an honorary orthodontist. I know everything about anything that relates to my teeth, and I just feel like they aren't straight enough right now. Like, when I look at them up close, I can see a whole lot of inconsistencies and improvements that could be made that I do not think will happen in the next 2 months. Then he proceeds to tell me that my top row of teeth is overcrowded, and I just have a lot of teeth on the top, a lot more than the average person. And then I overhear like the supervisor type person speaking to my doctor, saying that I am gonna have a gap at the top. Like, I have a gap in between one of my teeth right now, and he says, yeah, she has a lot of teeth at the top, and it's just not gonna be able to be fixed. So if she's okay with having the gap, then her treatment will be finished. And I'm like, I know I didn't hear him say what he just said. Like, I know this is a joke. So then he comes to me and starts explaining exactly what he said to him, minus the gap part. He conveniently didn't seem to mention the gap part, but he says, you have a lot of teeth on the top. That's what he says. He said, you have a lot more teeth on your top row than the average person would. And so that's what he said to me, but he didn't mention anything about the gap. So they gave me, what did they do? What did they even do? Okay, so yeah, all they did at the last appointment was change the positioning of my bracket, and that's all that happened. So I met my new doctor, my 5th doctor, hopefully my final doctor, and they changed the position of my bracket. So that's pretty much all that happened at the last appointment. So that is a 25-minute summary of my 5-year braces journey so far. Now let's get into some of the things that they don't want you to know about getting braces. So we've talked about extractions. I think we've talked about time. So whatever time they tell you, just ignore it, because it got to a point where I would leave my appointments feeling so sad, because I would ask them like, okay, how many more months? Because it was approaching. If I didn't mention it already, my treatment time originally was 2.5 years, right? So when I'm asking you, like, because I had planned, I was like, okay, I got my braces in September of 2016. So 30 months from that date would have been May of 2019. So I'm like, oh, that's so great. Like, I'm gonna have my braces off before I go to college, and hopefully if it's like within the first week of May, before I turn 18. So I'm literally like, oh, this is perfect timing. If I have my braces on for 30 months, then by May of 2019 they will be off. So yeah, if they tell you a certain time, don't believe the hype. Okay. Next thing I want to say is that they say eat soft foods after appointments, but certain appointments, like any food, would irritate my teeth. It got to a point where I would try to eat bread, and bread would hurt my teeth. So you might have to go the soup route for the first couple of appointments. I don't know why I always forget to like take some sort of like pain reliever before the appointment, but afterwards, when it comes to food, pretty much all foods are going to hurt your teeth, even the soft ones. The next point that I wanted to touch on is something that I never heard of before, but I spoke on it briefly, was that you may not get the top and the bottom row at the same time. And there's nothing that you can do, unfortunately, to speed up the process. We'll get to food later because I definitely forgot to add that on the list. But I'm sorry if you are going to be like me, or you were in my position where you didn't get both rows at the same time. It was honestly really disappointing. Okay, the next thing they don't talk about, well, some people do, but like flossing is so annoying. Like, people say, oh yeah, things that you don't, things people really don't talk about when they have braces. Like, flossing is hard. Like, it gets to the point where you don't even want to floss. Like, I don't even care. They have this like special floss for braces, and at that point, weaving the floss in between my teeth like it's thread, I would rather just use regular floss. But if you can, get a water pick, because you know, we don't want you to have any type of like calcium buildup or anything when it's time to get them off, or any like plaque. So invest in a water pick if you can, but flossing is honestly so annoying. Another thing that people don't talk about when it comes to braces is that your face will change. I definitely have seen my face. I don't know if it was just like puberty was also helping, but I think braces also was a big factor. But my face has become so much slimmer and defined. Like, my face used to just be so chubby and round, and now I actually have like structure to my face, and I actually have a jawline sometimes. So braces definitely can change your face, and I really appreciated that facelift. This is a big one. Sometimes when you break a bracket, it may not be your fault, and this kept happening to me. I went to an appointment, and I showed them like, hey, this bracket broke off, but I was eating something soft. And they basically just took some glue, took the bracket, and put it back on. So they took the bracket and they took some glue, and they basically just put the bracket back on my tooth. So I came in like 2 consecutive appointments after that initial first appointment where they replaced the bracket, telling them that that same bracket broke. So it happened like 3 appointments in a row, the same bracket broke. And at this point, the supervisor is saying like, first of all, when you're whispering, I have very good hearing. I can hear everything. So when you're whispering, I'm hearing it, like all your little side conversations. Doctor needed to tell me to stop eating foods that could potentially break my brackets. First of all, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. Popcorn, candy, Jolly Ranchers, kettle corn. Oh, that kettle corn, caramel corn. I'm gonna eat whatever I want to eat, especially because I had these joints on forever. Can you imagine if I hadn't had gum in 5 years? Can you imagine if I hadn't had anything sticky and no. So he's basically telling the doctor, you need to tell your patient to make sure that she's following the food rules. And I'm just like, y'all keep playing with me. Because ironically, every time the bracket broke, I was eating something soft. One of the most memorable times when it broke was when I was eating pasta. So I'm like, I really don't think it's my fault, because every single time it would break, I'd be eating pizza or pasta or something soft like that. So eventually, the doctor takes a closer look at my teeth and he's like, whoa, this bracket isn't bonded correctly. Like, it isn't even correctly placed on the tooth. So this whole time, when they're lecturing me about making sure that I'm following the rules, it was their fault. So that was a relief, but also frustrating. And I have not had a broken bracket since that day, and that was like 3 years ago. So if you keep breaking a bracket, ask them to like look over their work and make sure that it's, you know, actually your fault, because crazy. And the second to last thing I want to talk about is you need to build up your chapstick collection like it's water. Like, when I go in for my appointments, your mouth is open for so long that you come out looking like it's the dead of winter. So if you're getting braces, or if you have braces, winter is coming. Winter is approaching. I need you to stock up on your chapstick. If you don't like chapstick, exfoliate your lips, use lip gloss, use something. Lip balm, something, lip oil, something. Because when you have braces, it's just very, very hard to keep your lips moisturized. So stock up on your chapstick. Okay. And the last thing I did want to talk about is food. So when it comes to food, I eat whatever I want. I've already talked about like my experience with my brackets, but I eat whatever. And when I say whatever, I eat whatever I want. I cut it up and I throw it in the back with the molars and the premolars and let those strong teeth do the work. So I'm not encouraging bad behavior, but like part of it is because they don't want you to break your brackets, and the other part of it is just because most of the things that they recommend you not to be eating, they can cause staining, so that like when you get your braces off, you have the train tracks of your teeth being yellow and where the brackets were, those being a little lighter shade. So yeah, I just eat whatever I want. I throw it to the back. If I want an apple, cut it up, eat it really carefully, or just throw it to the back. I haven't had candy in a while, but sometimes I'll have a little Sour Patch, throw it to the back. Not advising this, but at this point I've had my braces for 5 years, and I think I have a handle on what to do and what not to do. This has honestly been one of the longest videos I recorded in a long time. Probably one of my longest, or my longest. So I'm gonna end the video here. I really hope that this story time was helpful for any of you guys who have braces or will be getting them. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Even when I'm sitting here alone all by myself,